You know, they say a country's history is written in its stones, its castles, and its old cobbled streets. Well, today, we're actually going to read that story. We are diving into Scotland's incredible past, not through some dusty textbook, but through its most essential, most powerful sites. Okay, let's jump right in.
So here's the thing. How in the world do you cram over 1,000 years of history, all the battles, the royalty, the everyday life, into just a few minutes? It sounds kind of impossible, right? Well, that's the challenge, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to travel through time, not just across a map.
And here's our game plan. We're not going to go north to south. Nope. We're going to go story by story. We'll kick things off with the strongholds of Fortress Scotland, then get into all the drama with A Royal Tale, listen to the voices of the people's story, and finally, feel the beat of Scotland's cultural heart. All right, first up, Fortress Scotland. For centuries, Scotland's very survival was all about its ability to defend itself, to protect its borders and its people. And the proof? It's everywhere. The whole landscape is just dotted with these incredible, formidable castles and imposing strongholds. And right away, you see two totally different sides of that defensive power. You've got Edinburgh Castle, this majestic symbol of royal power sitting on top of an actual volcano. And then you have Blackness Castle, a grim, tough-as-nails state prison they called the ship that never sailed. One is all about grandeur, the other is just brute force. It's such a fascinating contrast. And speaking of might, you've got to see Bothwell Castle, seriously. It's near Glasgow, and its massive red sandstone walls and that dramatic tower are just a masterclass in medieval engineering. This wasn't just built for defense. This was a statement, a huge, unmissable statement of power. 400. Now, that's not just some random number. That stands for over 400 years of conflict, of sacrifice, of military history. And it's all documented inside the National War Museum, which is actually housed inside the walls of Edinburgh Castle. So you've got a fortress within a fortress. Pretty amazing. You know, Scottish defenses were always changing. They had to. As attackers came up with new weapons, like huge, powerful cannons, the defenders had to adapt. And you can literally see this evolution in stone, from medieval strongholds like Urquhart Castle to the sprawling, almost scientific design of Fort George, which was built specifically to handle modern artillery. It's like a military arms race, just played out over centuries. Okay, so we've met the soldiers in the fortress. Now let's turn to the monarchs in the palace. This next chapter is absolutely packed with intrigue, power struggles, and the incredible legacies of Scotland's most famous royals. And you can't talk about Scottish royalty without talking about Mary, Queen of Scots. She casts this incredibly long shadow. I mean, look at this timeline. It traces her dramatic life. She was born in the absolute grandeur of Linlithgow Palace, but by 1566, she was basically a prisoner in this fortified tower house in Jedburgh. The fact you can still walk through those rooms today, wow, it's a chilling reminder of how fast fortunes could change back then. But you know, it's not always about the grand palaces. Sometimes the most powerful royal stories are the most personal ones. In the beautiful ruins of Melrose Abbey, a casket was found, and inside was the heart of King Robert the Bruce, one of Scotland's greatest heroes. It's just an unbelievably poignant connection to a legendary past. And this royal story, it is far from over. It's still being written. At the other end of Edinburgh's Royal Mile from the castle, you'll find the Palace of Holyrood House. This isn't just a museum. It's a living, breathing piece of history. It's the official residence of the monarch in Scotland today, a perfect, seamless link between the past and the present. Okay, so we've heard about the kings and the queens and the soldiers. But what about everybody else? What about the ordinary people? This section moves us beyond those castle walls to uncover the stories of the doctors, the traders, the workers, the people who actually built the nation. And let me tell you, some of their stories are, well, they're pretty shocking. At the Surgeons' Hall Museums in Edinburgh, you can actually see a pocketbook that was made from the skin of the infamous murderer William Burke. It is a gruesome object, for sure, but it tells this unforgettable, dark story about medicine, poverty, and crime in 19th century Scotland. You know, the people's story is so often found in the small details. Take the tiny museum on the Isle of Mull. It's an absolute treasure chest of history. You've got everyday farming tools sitting right next to relics from a sunken Spanish warship and the history of a World War II naval base. It's just a powerful reminder that even the most remote parts of Scotland have these incredible global connections. And focusing on the lives of ordinary people is so important that there are museums totally dedicated to it. The People's Story Museum in Edinburgh, for instance, does exactly that. It gives a voice to the city's working-class citizens, making sure their struggles and their triumphs are never, ever forgotten. All right, for our final chapter, we're exploring Scotland's soul. We're talking about its massive contribution to art, to literature, and to the global imagination. And the best part is, you can experience all of it firsthand at these incredible sites. So, if you want a perfect taste of Scotland's cultural heart, here's the 1-2 punch. First, you hit the Scottish National Gallery, just a treasure trove of incredible art. Then, you make the pilgrimage to Abbotsford, the magical, amazing home of Sir Walter Scott. It was right here that he basically invented the historical novel, and in doing that, he completely changed how the entire world saw Scotland, forever. And this cultural influence is as strong today as it's ever been. Dun Castle is the perfect example. It's a historic 14th century stronghold, right? But now, millions of people know it as Castle Leoch from Outlander, or Winterfell from Game of Thrones, or the castle from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It's a historical site that's become a total pop culture superstar. So, when you pull it all together, what do you get? What have we really seen? We've seen that Scotland's story isn't just one single thread. It's this rich, complicated, beautiful tapestry woven from the courage of its soldiers, the intrigue of its royals, the grit of its everyday people, and the imagination of its artists. Visiting these places really is like turning the pages of a living history book. So, we've laid out all the chapters for you. The fortresses, the palaces, the people's stories, the culture. The only question left is, which page of Scotland's incredible history would you turn to first?